This brother and sister duo created the first phone case subscription box in 2017. It is now ranked one of the fastest growing private companies in America, ranked number 17 with over $23 million in sales in 2020. This is Casely. Let's go. What's up, everyone? Sean Azari here with Matt Skopak.
What's going on, everyone?
Welcome to Deep Dive, episode 47, where we dive into businesses like Casely and dive into their marketing and business strategies such that you can take these strategies and implement them into your business. This company was, again, founded by a brother and sister in 2017. Year after year, Skopak, what were the numbers again?
2018, they did 1.1 million in sales. 2019, I believe, was 6.9 million, and 2020 was 23 million.
Talk about fast growing. You know, when we deep dive into this, we saw this on Inc. Fastest growing companies. I heard about it. They actually have multiple competitors, but I've seen a lot of like content creators, influencers, post this type of case. This guy, he didn't really have a marketing background, but he loved the terminology growth hacking, which is great because now they're spending, we see headlines, they're spending about $500,000 a month on Facebook ads. That means their revenue is, it's there, right? Their return on investment and so forth, return on ad spend and so forth. But in the beginning, they were doing a lot of things, which I'll talk about, but he was doing a lot of these growth hackings, which is basically how to grow your brand without spending much money. Right. And he knew ways of doing that. They were hustling and, they're putting a lot of work.
He came from the Amazon fulfillment center. He started his own product. He growth hacked it to become basically one of the top searched items. And then he got bought out by a competitor that he passed when he became ranked higher from them on Amazon. So basically he used those metrics of growth hacking to build this company with his sister. His name's Mark. Her name is Emily Stalling. So there's Stallings. And they started it's a subscription box where they only did subscriptions, I believe, in the beginning. And then they kind of don't do subscriptions, or they do, but 99% of their business now is from one-off purchases.
Correct. And the guy knew, he was like, you know what, when people are taking their photos, right, what do people see? You see the phone case. So just like fashion, right, people want different outfits or different types of looks in their photos. So a phone case is part of your lifestyle, part of your content. Sorry for that little. Another thing that I really picked up before we get into our points is one of his first hires, he hired, I think it was a customer support rep, and that was end of 2018. So that was already a year into his brand.
That's 2 years. They started in 2017 was the first product launch, but yes.
Yeah, so end of 2018, he hired his first person. I believe his second hire, which I wrote down, person that communicated across the content creators. So almost like your influencer brand rep, the people that reached out to your content creators, that communicated across them, the messaging and all forth. That was their second hire. In the midst of all that, they did hire a few different consulting agencies that were experts in different fields, such as Google Ads, SEO, and so forth. Yep. So they did work with a lot of consulting and freelancers as well. So it's a great brand to study and, really realize what they did in terms of growth, because they didn't really get a lot of money in the beginning. Now, do they have any funds now being raised?
I didn't see anything. Haven't saw anything on that.
So that's a little bit of context. What about, you want to go for number one?
Let's do number one on Casely. Join a community or a group to ask for advice so you can avoid the mistakes that other people have made when starting a business. So this was funny. When I was doing the search, I was looking at information for Casely, and I came upon a Reddit post from 4 years ago, I guess posted by Mark in the Reddit group about entrepreneurs and let's see the group. The group is,
I believe it was called Entrepreneurs.
It's like an entrepreneur group or something around that. And he basically asked them, me and my sister just started a subscription box website. We just launched 2 weeks ago, and we got a great initial sale with $15,000, but now it's starting to slow down. Does anyone have any advice? So I thought this was a great thing that me and Sean always talk about And now you see it in real life with a company that's doing 23 million in revenue in 2020 is no matter where you come from or where you start, to be successful, leverage communities, leverage your network, leverage just any entrepreneur or any business owner that you can. Like in this case, Mark leveraged this Reddit group. There's Facebook groups out there.
A lot of Facebook groups that are
me
very
and Sean
helpful.
are both part of ClickFunnels groups, entrepreneur groups, or things like that, where you can ask questions and people will help you. And in this circumstance, these people were like, just relax. You're very new. Your first buyers didn't even get their subscription box yet. They helped him with like talking about churn rates, about what they should expect for like your month over month and like your yearly like subscription percentages. So it was very interesting, and almost it confirmed what me and Sean are saying is like, use your community, use other experiences, especially when you're new, to help launch your business and to avoid mistakes that we've already made.
And I actually got a few groups for takeaways here that are great to join. I'm part of. I just invited Matt to one of them. One of them is called, it's a Facebook group. It's called Facebook Ad Buyer. So if you're watching this on YouTube, I'm going to pop it right up here. Great group. I just joined it about a month ago, and I just found, a lot of people are talking about the iOS 14 update, some of the problems that, they're seeing. Some of them are talking about how lookalike audiences are not as effective right now compared to what it was before. These are the stuff that I was seeing myself, but it's good reconfirmation by seeing other people talking about it now. Also, I learned other metrics that people are watching now compared to it didn't really exist, or people weren't looking at that before as well. So there's a lot of things that you're going to learn and pick up. So really suggest that. Mark posted was called Entrepreneur, I think, right? That's a subreddit. But there's also, if you're into the marketing side, there's Facebook ads. It's called a subreddit. These are great all groups to join and just take a look out. If you're doing things in Printful and stuff like that, which is a drop shipping company, there's Facebook groups there where, like, similar to what you just showed me there, Matt, people are talking about their designs and why certain things are not working or why they're not getting sales. And there's a lot of good customer feedback. But just one thing especially understand is don't just promote your brand. Some people use that as like, okay, let me just post my link and just kind of brag what I'm doing. Don't brag. So there's a lot of people that actually do that just to get traffic, which is stupid. But try to provide value, or try to seek some sort of also try to provide some of your takeaways, what you've learned and so forth, how you can help other people.
Engage in the community as well. Don't come in there and just ask a question. It'd be even better if you're commenting, helping other people, and an active member of that community.
All right. Number 2, take a deep dive into analyzing your followers and engagement. Mike talked about this, and I love this because I've actually done this a lot in the past before buying Facebook ads. He analyzed his followers or his audience, understood who they are, and then he looked for other brands that had a similar type of audience and engaged with his brand account, with Get Casely, engage in people inside other brands' comments. And what that does is it creates a notification on a lot of people's phones, like someone's commenting under another comment that you as a follower, you posted, that Get Casely replied to your comment. What are they saying? It gets them notified or aware of who you are. And within 3 seconds, usually, they tend to look at your profile, that brand's profile. Like, who is this? Why they're commenting me? Are they witty? Are they doing something like that caught my attention? Now, within that 3-4 seconds, I like to say 3 seconds, they're basically going to decide if they're going to follow you or not. So that becomes your content strategy. So your content needs to capture attention. If it's good enough, you're like, oh man, this is great. So if you're really strategic and you're really finding these people that are going to be attracted to your brand, so you're looking for brands that have a similar audience, and you're commenting on those type of people, and you really understand what to say, not just like, hey, what's up, but like something that's valuable or something witty, you're going to get someone's attention, and they're going to tend to follow you without spending a dime there, except your time. So again, this is a great growth hacking strategy, especially if you're really, really bootstrapping and don't have $1 in your bank account, which is, I kind of exaggerate, but that's how you bootstrap.
That's it. Number 3, as a new company, focus on acquiring new customers, while as a mature business, focus on maximizing the LTV, which we all know, long-term value of your current customers. This is something that Mark talked about, and it resonated with me because as a new company, all your ads, all your techniques that you're doing, and your content should be really for education and for acquiring new customers. That's really, probably within the first year or 2 years, That's really what you want to do, is really focus your brand on acquiring as many new customers and individuals to get to your page and to learn about your brand as much as possible. But once you get past that honeymoon stage, you really need to then totally focus on your current customers, or how to get your key current customers to keep coming back. But a good part of it, at least 50%, you need to figure out ways to increase the long-term value of the customers that you currently have. Ways of doing that with Casely, subscriptions, they do add-ons, they probably do retargeting, they re-email their subscribers or past customers. So there's numerous things that you need to do, but you need to understand where you are in your maturity as a business, and then basically the campaigns or the strategies that you're using to try to increase your revenue and your growth.
I mean, some of the things I've done, and I've seen Sugar and Kush do it as well, which is Skopak's a brand that he's part of as well, is giveaways where you're actually giving, you're spending a lot of money, a decent amount of money to acquire new customers or brand recognition by giving your product away, which is costing the cost of the product, right? And promoting that giveaway. So it could be like, I don't know, you could put about $500 under that post where you're not really getting the return on ad spend there, or return or the ROI there originally, but you're getting that brand recognition. You are getting for me, my canvas company, which is right behind me for those who are watching on YouTube, is getting my art in someone's house where now that style is there. So then when they have to order another one, they'll remember me because that's the same, similar style. So again, sometimes you're gonna spend a little bit more money. Sometimes you're not gonna be profitable to acquire that new customer. Yeah. Tends to happen, right? But you have that strategy that you're gonna increase your LTV, which is, I think you said long-term, it's lifetime value?
Lifetime value.
Yeah. You said long-term.
Long-term, lifetime, same thing.
So sometimes you gotta spend, spend to play. You gotta pay to play.
Yeah. If you can be one of the businesses that make money on that initial purchase, God bless your soul. Because there are companies out there like, remember the Capital One, the credit card commercials? Yep. I think they spend $7,000 or $8,000 to acquire one new customer. Imagine that. And so
how much?
$7,000 or $8,000 to acquire one customer. Wow. So I mean, they have major money to spend, obviously, and obviously the lifetime value of a customer, if they get a credit card, it's dramatically higher. But what Sean was saying is totally correct. So, and then there's other ways too. It's not just campaigns or strategies. Releasing new products that relate or that attract your current customers is also another thing that you need to do to stay current and to stay relevant as you grow and as you become a more mature business. So,
agreed. Number 4, study brands that have similar CPA like yourself, which is CPA's cost per acquisition. So what Mark stated, that he would study brands that had a very similar CPA and then understand the type of content they're creating. So, and that's really important because you don't want to study a brand that doesn't have a similar, they could spend a lot to acquire that customer, and you're trying to, study some of maybe their content strategy, which may not work for you. So something that kind of would work for you is understanding how they're capturing someone's intention. And what he was doing before Facebook ad library, he would, basically go on, these brands' websites so that captures data through their pixel, and then screen record or screenshot some of the Facebook ads he was getting retargeted as, and then send it to his photographers or videographers to create similar type of ads. That was his reverse type of engineering, his growth type of hacking, and so forth. In today's world, with Facebook, you could use your Facebook ad library to do so. But before that, that's the way of doing it. But other ways of going about it also is sign up for your competitor's newsletter. So you're in their email list, so you understand the type of content you're getting, their subject lines, the type of creatives, the graphics, so that you can send it to your team.
Time of month, anything like that. Yep. So I think, Sean, a question based on that is like, how do I know when a brand has the same CPA as me? Which
research.
I would think
more research,
but I would think look for a brand that targets the same type of person and has a product that is the similar type of cost and profit margin. That will basically, I would think, put you in the same CPA.
Yep.
So if you're asking like, wow, how do I know if a brand has the same CPA as me? Look for a similar brand that targets the same type of person with the same cost of goods sold or the same price of item.
Agreed. And all that you got to research as well. So you're putting this on an Excel sheet, listing out products, the cost of the product and so forth, and then researching how much actually the product would cost to make, and then try to align it with how much it would cost for you to make your product as well. So see if that's similar.
Well, you better know your COGS. If not,
Yeah.
well, we need to have a talk. Number 5, be creative with how you donate or give back to the cause that you choose. And this is the topic of the last month or two, I feel, is this is another brand that they are very creative with giving to charity or giving back to a cause that they believe in. They do something a little bit differently where they actually change the charity, the donation, or the cause every month. And it's decided, I guess it could be decided multiple ways. I saw a vote. I saw recent events that they do. So like say the BLM, they did a month where they donated to that. They did a month where, say, a natural disaster, fires in California, or just different things. They had partnerships what they did, which they partnered with, say, a celebrity that had their own charity or something like that. So this is something that we've talked about. It's something that we've seen now for the last 2-3 months. And basically now every company we've done is a lot of these companies give back either 1% of sales, or every sale buys a pair of sneakers or buys a school set for someone in Africa or whatever it might be. But this is something that now a lot of the newer e-commerce companies are building this charitable or this giving piece into their DNA. So I really think it's important that as a company, you have a cause behind what you're doing while you're doing it, which is every entrepreneur has that anyway. But that's just something, don't be afraid. You're not going to lose out money or lose profit margin or anything like that because you want to give back or you believe in the cause. So be creative with it as well.
Why don't you actually, the example that you mentioned that you may do for Sugar and Kush, that you realize, like, you know what, I just got an idea.
Yeah. So when I was thinking about this, we've talked so many times about like what is a way that we can give back? What does who resonates with our brand? And like mental health is something very big that's happening within the last year, 2 years, especially with social media. I think mental health for teenagers and
this is for your brand, Sugar and Kush,
anxiety
which is
stress.
for anxiety.
Yeah, and the brand is for Sugar and Kush. It's a CBD brand. So I really thought about, like we've always discussed and tried to think about ways that we can give back as a community. And then seeing this, I thought, wow, great. We can possibly reach out to either celebrities or large influencers that actually have a charity or some kind of cause that for mental, for basically mental health, and then create a partnership where we can donate a part of our sales with them helping us reach more people. So it's a win-win. So that's just one thing I thought of just by researching Casely.
So a huge takeaway there is to really understand what your audience really aligns themselves with, and try to align your charities because that's what they care about. So if you're aligning charities that people care about, that your audience you feel would understand and get aligned with your brand, is align yourself with those types of charities.
So our brand CBD, it helps a lot with anxiety, and it's not only CBD helps with anxiety, but it's about peaceful, how to overcome mental health and ways to combat anxiety or stress or things like that. So it's not just selling CBD, but overall mental health and dealing with anxiety or stress. So giving back to a charity or to a cause that is meant for that and meant for that group of individuals or people dealing with this is something that we've always wanted to do. So it just clicked in my head when going through Casely. So that's just basically what me and Sean always do, and we hope that you're doing it as well. As when you research these companies or when you're looking out, you see new ideas and it sparks something that you could do using that strategy. So which is the whole point of this podcast.
That's what I'm saying. Number 6, send out surveys to see if your customers understand your vision. So Mark mentioned that when he sent out a survey to his customers to see if they understood, or to actually go along with what you just said, to see if they knew that they donated to charity, only 20% of his customers knew that. So that helped him fine-tune a lot of his messaging and so forth, and his content, so people actually knew that they were donating to certain charities. Yeah. So that's really important to understand that, because if you have a vision and only you see it and your customers don't, it's time to you want your customers and also your employees to really follow through with your vision. You want them to align with your brand. So if you're only believing something, you see something that's your slogan or whatever it is, that's really important to you to really excel this growth. Because at the end of the day, what's going to help you sell more is your story. and your story goes along with your vision. So if people don't see that, you got to send out email campaigns. You got to be creative and strategic so that people really understand what you're trying to do, what you're trying to accomplish, what you're trying to solve, and so forth. So that's really important. Again, I'll keep aligning this back. One of my visions, or one of my things that I say is, for Reborn, is art for your alter ego. It's our art designs is to express your alter ego. And a lot of people, and I actually did send out an email to see if people understood that, or I create IG stories like, hey, do you know what our logo symbol means, which is an eye? And a lot of people didn't. And that helped me fine tune a little bit, or kind of explain what it was and so forth. So I think it's really important, because that's how because you may think your customers, your followers, your potential customers may understand your brand, but they may not.
And most of the time they don't, guys. You live, eat, and breathe your brand, your company. Your customers, they probably might have saw you for 5 minutes and they don't know. They don't have your vision. They don't spend time in the brand. So it's something that I think most brands actually struggle with, and that's what these really good brands that we do really understand, and they really get out there and show and reflect like what their brand represents.
Yep. All right, I think that's it. But before we end this podcast, I kind of want to do something different, Matt, and I think that's really good. At the end of each podcast, or most of our podcasts, we're going to give you a takeaway, an app, a service that we either use to analyze these companies, but also possibly if the company is using it. This is actually going to be very helpful for anyone that's listening to this specific episode. Is, guys, download this Chrome extensions. Okay. The one I use is called Built With. And I use that when I go on a competitor's website or that we're researching. I'll look at all the apps they're using. So like Built With will list all these apps, right? And then I'll dig into these apps and what they do and so forth. So that's gonna be super helpful. I'm probably not gonna mention that app in any other episode. Maybe one in 30 episodes later. But next time we'll mention an app. I think will be good, Matt. We mentioned an app that's specific to that competitor and what it's used for and so forth. So check that one out. I really like that. You like that idea?
Yeah, I think it's a great idea.
It'll be super helpful. So that's it, right?
That's all.
Guys, if you guys like this episode, if you're listening to this, iTunes, Amazon, Spotify, please give us a 5-star review if you like the content. If you think this is going to help other entrepreneurs or anyone that's starting a business or in the middle of creating a business, share them this episode if you think this is going to be helpful. Again, if you have any questions, you could tweet at mscopac or at Sean_Azari. If you're watching this on YouTube, put your questions in the comments below. And stay tuned. Subscribe for more weekly videos and weekly podcasts. And we'll see you next week.